Well, it sounded great, and we had tons of feedback on your voice, which, of course, is the whole package. It would have to have been your voice and delivery, the microphone, the preamplifier. I mean, everything turned out great. You know, I remember mixing that stuff, thinking this is mixing like a dream. But because of that, I had another friend follower that saw those videos. It's like, hey, I'm a huge ADK fan as well, and I know Miles from ADK, which leads me to my other new friend right here, Miles Fulwider, which is the president of ADK Microphones. And somebody reached out to you about that video as well, right? Said, hey, have you seen?
Yeah.
First of all, what do you think about Brian's pipes?
I think like everybody else that's commented on that, it's pretty incredible. You close your eyes and you're not sure what you're hearing.
Is that really Journey? Yeah, exactly. He's fantastic. Well, tell us about ADK and your journey with ADK. But you were not the founder. You're the current president, though.
Correct. Yeah. So this is, I believe, our 27th year with ADK Microphones. It was founded by Larry Villela, brilliant pianist and engineer and all these things. And he set out, in the late 90s, everyone's vintage microphone collections started to grow exponentially in value. And he, as just such an astute ear and passion for music, just really got panicked about, there's these classic tone profiles. How do we maintain that? How do people afford that? How does this just continue on? And so he set out and built ADK Microphones, that was to do that. That was to take, the end point wasn't to create a tone exactly like the vintage microphone. That was really the starting point. Like, how do we take that tone that we know and love when you think of a 67 or 251 and you reach for that? How do we take that, but then put this into a modern workflow and make that work that's going to work in the very dynamic way that we work today? And particularly we have such low noise floor with the equipment that we use, and obviously different type of the reliability of components and things like that. A microphone that's going to be around 27 years and stuff like that. You're using a TC microphone that we no longer make, but you're using it every day, and it sounds great.
That is one thing about old microphones. I've rented some, paid good money to rent some before, and you get them to the studio and power them up, and it's like, oh, this is a sparse acoustic guitar-driven ballad, and that noise floor is going to be a real serious problem. That's something we don't think about very much when we think about the classics, but it's nonetheless a battle that we face. So you have a pretty broad, when you talk about those tones and those voices, you have a pretty good number of those that you have recreated.